How you doing, guys? Welcome to Dine at Home. Wishing every mother out there a very, very happy Mother's Day, and thank you to everyone who has bought a box this week as well. If you like me and literally idolise you, old dear, we've really gone out, pulled out all the stops for this one as well. So we've got some lovely, beautiful, luxurious ingredients for both the vegetarian menu and the normal menu as well, guys. So without further ado, let's go through how to reheat, cook, stir, so on and so forth, your Mother's Day menu. Hopefully for your mother, if she's cooking, there's something gone wrong here. So hopefully those sons and daughters and husbands are all cooking for their either other half or their mother. So without further ado, guys, your first little taster of the Mother's Day is the beautiful multi-seed loaf, which is obviously the tear and share loaf, into the oven, 180 degrees for 5 minutes. Done, super simple. When it'll come to, it'll be quite soft, it may even be a little bit firm. There's a little bit of butter in there, so it might be a little bit firm. Pop it into the oven and it will regenerate beautifully for 5 minutes. And that is obviously served, as always, with our iconic, beautiful Marmite butter, which again, just leave that at room temperature. Make sure it's not somewhere too hot, just so it goes deliciously with your bread, nice and soft, which essentially would also go with your starter as well, which is a beautiful, a first as well for Dine at Home, a beautiful agnolotti, which is a type of pasta or ravioli, which you'll see there, which is filled with native lobster, langoustine, and I put on the menu salmon, but the salmon, because obviously it's we're still in COVID, we're struggling to get salmon, so there's a little bit of salmon in there, but it's mainly cod that we've blended that too. But we ordered so many lobsters that, but to be fair, the majority of that mix is lobster and langoustine. It's absolutely delicious, mixed with a little bit of obviously seasoning, bit of lemon juice, cream, and also a little bit of tarragon and chopped chive as well. You'll have a beautiful caviar and lobster dressing, which is a smoked caviar, if I can get the lid off, which is in there. So give that a nice big stir, and we've used all the shells from the lobster and crayfish and langoustine as well to make the beautiful oil and dressing, because that's super, super strong. And then you've also got a deliciously vibrant watercress and potato velouté, which is about 1.5 kilos of picked watercress went into that as well. So beautiful seasonal, beautiful, delicious sort of luxurious dish, but super simple as well. Perfect for the mothers out there, in my opinion. Hopefully you share that as well. Guys, super simple to reheat. So what I've got on the back here, I've got a little thing that we call a chauffant, which is essentially a pasta basket for your ravioli or agnolotti, with boiling, simmering water. And then equally with your soup, I would recommend heating it on a stove, in a pan on the stove, sorry, or alternatively you can put it into a microwavable container and heat it through there if you'd like to. But I would personally recommend heating it on the stove. Your caviar and lobster dressing is simply to dress the bowl when you're finished, and that's it. So join me in about 2 to 3 minutes. The exact same for the vegetarian. The dressing's the same. The agnolottis are the same cooking. Obviously, it's filled with goat's cheese, red onion, and kale. Obviously, sorry, feta, red onion, and kale. Obviously, heat that up the exact same way for 2 to 3 minutes, just until the centre's nice and piping. That's all you've got to do. So join me in 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll go for the plating with you soon a bit. Okay, guys. So it's been about 3 minutes for the agnolotti and also the soup. As you can see, the steam's coming off both of them really, really well. So I'll knock those off. So we don't need those anymore. The soup's beautifully come up. I would recommend, obviously, it gets a nice little deeper colour if you just pan down it. The green will get a little bit more intense as you heat it up, because essentially the heat will get that colour a little bit more sort of deeper and vibrant. And then with your agnolotti, I always do this. Just put it into a little J cloth. You can essentially use kitchen towel if you want to. It's just to drain the excess water off the agnolottis, just simply because how we do these, we sort of roll them and then press them at the end. They always form a little pocket, which is just underneath there. If you can see that, you see that? Yeah, it's just a little pocket there. So it always sort of just creates a little pocket, which again, you just want to ensure there's no water in there. But on a J cloth, it's absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to season the agnolottis a little bit on top. As returnees will know, I always normally season this with extra virgin olive oil, because I just love extra virgin olive oil on the agnolottis. But this time, because this lobster dressing is so strong, I don't really want to contrast that. And we've used extra virgin olive oil in the dressing anyway, so it doesn't really need it. It'd be a bit of a conflict of interest if we start to season those too heavily. So again, guys, it's totally up to you. On the instructions, I've said you can place these in a bowl, you can dress them and then pour table side, which I think will be lovely. For the video, I'm just going to show you how I would personally plate them. But again, if you put those 3 in there, then dress them beautifully so it's nice and vibrant, and then table side for your old dear, pour that into a nice little jug, pour that in separately. I think that'd be absolutely delicious. But for now, we're going to place it sort of backwards to that to get a lovely amount of velouté, and then on with your agnolottis. You essentially want to keep them relatively close so you can obviously see them, just like that. Beautiful. And then with your dressing, make sure you get all that caviar, and then just do not be shy with this. Make sure you've got loads on, and that lovely sort of natural colour from the beautiful lobster shells. They've simply just roasted those, and then we've water bathed them overnight at 75 degrees, and it really releases all that delicious flavour and the colour from the lobster, all natural. So guys, there we are. Super simple, in essence of bringing it back together, but a super delicious starter or start to your Mother's Day menu, which is the beautiful agnolotti, which is filled with native lobster, langoustine, cod and salmon, with a watercress and potato velouté, finished off with that delicious, you can smell it now, delicious roasted lobster oil with your smoked caviar. Guys, enjoy that one, and join me for the main course in 2 or 3 minutes, guys. Okay guys, so hopefully you enjoyed your main course, your starter. We're on to the main course now, which is a beautiful Guinea fowl. If people out there don't really know what Guinea fowl is, we in the kitchen we sort of treat it as like a really posh, sort of delicious chicken essentially. Similar in sort of shape, size, etc. But the flavour is just a lot more intense. I really love Guinea fowl. We've taken whole birds, and we've taken the thigh and drumsticks off. We've made like a mousse out of the thighs and drumsticks, and then combined that with some black winter truffle as well. And then we've sort of filled that back in, made a cavity on the flesh side, so flipped it over on the skin, made a cavity for the mousse, piped that in, and then folded it back over, and then poached it. I'll show you while it's up, and you'll see we've sort of made the cavity essentially through there. Put a line of mousse, folded it back over, and then poached it on the same, but it will be quite close to the skin. But I'll show you exactly how to reheat this. It's already cooked, so you've got nothing to worry about there, completely cooked. The reason why we've cooked it is essentially because we want to give it to you in the best possible way, but also it sets the mousse as well, so there's no issues of leaking and so on and so forth. So come down, I'll show you the garnish that's going to go with the Guinea fowl, and then after that I'll obviously show you how to reheat it all. So we've got a beautiful Guinea fowl there. We've also got a delicious Guinea fowl sauce with black truffle. So the same black truffle that goes in the mousse went in the sauce. You'll see layers of this. The Guinea fowl sauce, I always make it in a certain way, so there's a bit of fat in there as well, but when it reheats it'll all go the same colour, but it's absolutely delicious sauce. You have a leek here, we put ×1 on there. The majority of you will have one that's slightly longer, which requires you to half. Some of the leeks were quite thin, so we'll give you 1 each, which essentially just roasted the same. I will halve this. I would personally heat this as 1, but I'll halve it to show you, because the majority of you will have to halve theirs, because the majority of the leeks were obviously a good size. The accompaniment as well is a piece of dauphinoise potatoes. This is stuffed with parmesan and obviously cream with rosemary, scented with rosemary and garlic. So the main work of that is completely done. We simply just add that to the tray once we heat the Guinea fowl and the leek up in the pan, and then you've got some delicious creamed kale topped with some smoky bacon, which essentially I would always recommend heating that in the pan because the cream is reduced. So if you do heat it too much, it can often sort of scramble, like curdle, and it doesn't change the taste remotely. If you do it in the microwave, it can be a little bit too strong. For the vegetarian, it's obviously a delicious petivier, one of my favourite things to eat, especially being vegetarian, especially for a vegetarian menu. Simply, obviously, we've done that raw, so that takes about 16 to 20 minutes in the oven. The garnish is essentially exactly the same. We've obviously just taken the bacon out, or we haven't added the bacon to the kale. And obviously your sauce is delicious separate cream, which I'd recommend heating that very gently on the stove. Alternatively, you can heat that in the microwave as well. But the garnish with the kale, leek and dauphinoise is exactly the same, and you'll reheat that exactly the same as well. So without further ado, I will split the Guinea fowl bag open. I'll halve my leek. My dauphinoise is ready to go. I'll simply just put a little bit of grease-proof paper underneath. My pan is on a very low heat, but it's been on for about 5 minutes, so that's going to be nice and hot. But at the moment I add the oil and the Guinea fowl, it will reduce in temperature. So come on over and I will show you how to reheat the main course for your meal, guys. Okay, so nice and simple. As I said, I've just halved the leek and the guinea fowl. You'll notice with the guinea fowl, it's set, you know, it's super set. So you've got nothing to worry about. It's nice and firm, super set. Nice bit of veg oil in there. We haven't seasoned any of this other than the mousse inside, so I'd highly recommend you to season the breast. I personally, I do like pepper with it, but I personally wouldn't put pepper with this because we don't want to sort of come away from the flavour of the truffle. So pop that in. And again, we're not roasting it like a chicken breast or a raw breast. This is obviously a fully cooked one, so we just want to get a bit of colour on there. So normally I would never say to add the leek so early, but this time I'm telling you to add the leek nice and early. So halve the leeks, which is just there. These have been seasoned, the leeks have, so you won't need to add any more salt to those at all. So we'll leave those there, and immediately you will notice, because essentially we've cooked all the protein out of the guinea fowl early doors, you'll notice that the skin starts to colour up straight away. Make sure it's nice and flat, it should be, because we've backed them, so we've backed them nice and flat, so it should be nice and flat. I'm just going to get some greaseproof paper for the dough and wild potatoes, if we have any. There we are. And you haven't got to do really anything with the dough and wild. I personally always pop a little nub of butter on, but the seasoning's perfect. We've seasoned every other layer, but we've also added parmesan, obviously through the alternate layers. So again, you don't need to add anything more to that, that's perfect. There's your leek, so just make sure you can see the outside's getting coloured, but the inside isn't, so make sure we do sort of push down the centre to ensure that gets coloured. The guinea fowl will be pretty close to perfect now, there we are. The skin's crisping up beautifully, and this is when we want to add a little bit of butter in there now, okay, so just we've got 2 knobs. If you've got any thyme or rosemary or garlic in your fridge or obviously outside, by all means put that in. That's what we do in the restaurant, we add that aromat. It always adds flavour. It's not going to overpower anything, you just add that delicious amount of flavour to it as well. Okay, so I'll knock that off. The residual heat will continue doing the job that we need it to do. We'll just flip that over and just very gently seal that sort of underside. The leeks now are nicely caramelised, evenly caramelised, so we'll pop that over there, along with the other one. There we are, that's even better. Perfect. And then we'll just nicely pour that over. This is called, we call this Monty de beurre, which is essentially covering it or spooning butter. That's exactly what we want to do. So pop that on, skin side up. So you want that just to dry out slightly and crisp up. Then we're just going to add a little bit of butter to there and there and there. We've got a little bit of butter on the dough from our potatoes, and that's it. Super simple. That's all you've got to do. So pop it in your oven. So 180 for around about 8 minutes is perfect in here. But at home, you just want to make sure that dough from our potatoes is nicely heated. If after 8 minutes your chicken and leek are done, but your dough from needs a little bit longer, just pop your dough from on for a little bit longer. I didn't anticipate being so high when we laid them up. So again, it's super high. So that probably needs about 10 to 12 minutes when the chicken, the guinea fowl, sorry, only needs about 8 minutes. Okay, so join me in about 8 to 10 minutes, and we'll go through the plating. Okay, guys. So my timer has just gone off on my oven. Okay, so it's 8 minutes. I'm going to knock that off because I've just opened the door before I started the video. It looks absolutely superb. So I'm going to get that out now and show you what that should look like. We'll also be quick with closing the door and turn your oven off because we're going to put the brownie in there, obviously just before dessert, and the residual heat of that oven will be perfect to reheat your brownie. So come on down and I'll show you what's happened to your tray. So you'll see your guinea fowl breast is beautifully coloured. The colour slightly on the bottom, that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to place that onto the board. Beautiful dough from our potatoes. You can take them a little bit further if you'd like to. I'm absolutely fine with that. And obviously your leek, the outer layer of the leek will become not unusable at all. I mean, you can absolutely eat it. It will just be super charred in comparison to a leek. It normally just sort of goes a little bit sort of, as you can tell by this one, it sort of bursts out a little bit. So just be careful when you reheat it. And obviously yours will be a lot larger than that, which essentially will help it because it will have more weight to the leek. So we'll just have to sort of burst now. I've reheated my sauce. The sauce is reheated on the stove. just as you would, and equally with the kale as well. So again, if you can see the kale, beautifully creamed kale, I haven't done anything to that. I've simply just reheated it and then sort of worked the bacon into it. The sauce is on the back there, which is boiling hot. So we'll go and plate with the guinea fowl. I did say to obviously rest that, which I would highly recommend resting, just so it just sort of catches up with itself. But for the time being and for this video, I will just get straight into cutting it. So as you can see that? So it's super juicy. See all those juices all running out. You can see them dripping off. And that's what the poaching does. And the smell straight away, you'll smell the you can smell the truffle. But more importantly, you can smell the guinea fowl. It's got a really sort of iconic sort of smell. And there we are, guys, right through the middle. It's almost similar sort of colour, but you'll see right through the middle. You'll see flakes of truffle, and that's right through the centre of it. It is beautiful. It'll be a little bit darker. There we are. That's perfect. You can see that. It'll be a little bit darker because essentially it is the leg meat. It's gone straight through the middle. But again, I can smell the truffle from here, which is just absolutely delicious. So I'll place them on. Again, as I said, it's just slightly darker because of the leg meat itself. Again, it's huge open wild potatoes. It's almost too big for the plate, but I've certainly never received any complaints of something being too big, put it that way. Okay, so on with your kale. We'll keep this nice and close. I always say that on the videos, also on the instructions. Keep it nice and close, pack it all together, and simply, this is what I always do in the restaurant. It encourages the customer to delve into the dish itself as a complete dish. So it almost encourages the customer to have as many elements or taste as many elements as possible with each mouthful. So there we are, we've done that. We'll take that off as well, give that a quick clean. There we are, remove that, and then we'll just grab the sauce, which is on the back there, and we'll just sauce the plate itself. Again, you'll see loads of truffle all inside. The smell is absolutely unbelievable. It's super rich, this sauce is. Pop that both on top of the guinea fowl skin, and then just sort of dot it all in and around as well. There we are, guys. And there is your Mother's Day main course, which I'm sure she'll be absolutely grateful for, which is your beautiful poached, and then you have roasted the guinea fowl breast stuffed with a delicious winter truffle mousse, creamed kale with smoked bacon, beautiful caramelised leek at the back, open wild potatoes laid up with some parmesan, and the sauce, which is guinea fowl sauce, finished off with some black truffle as well, guys. Super main course. My mouth's watering. Can't wait to eat it. Hope you enjoy it too, guys. And join me after this for your dessert. Okay, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the main course. Yeah, I really do. I'm really delighted with that. So I really hope you are as well. Beautiful truffle flavour going through the whole entire dish. I thought the guinea fowl breast was just delicious. Cooked really well. If you do the same, I think you've done a massive amount of justice. So hopefully you enjoy it too, guys. So on for dessert, one of my mum's favourites, chocolate fudge brownie. This is with one I'll take. I always like to put a little some sort of acidity, if it's for the ice cream or for a syrup or for a compote or whatever it may be. I like to put a little bit of acidity with the chocolate brownie because it is so obviously sort of sickly. So this time we have done a beautiful pineapple, which has been compressed in a dark rum syrup. So basically what we do, buy all the obviously we get all the pineapples, prep them all, so skin off, core them, and we just slice them. Some are super ripe, so you've actually use a cutter. So this one's quite a bit smaller. This is for one person. Some rings are a lot larger, so I suggest you would halve that, but cook it whole, halve it once it's heated in the pan. But some are equally really small. You have to cut it out because they're really ripe, which is a good thing. But they're quite delicate to use. So please be really wary and careful when you do remove the pineapple from the bag. The garnish obviously is that, and then you have a delicious chocolate brownie. So I always, as you'll know, I've put this on the menu 2, 3, 4 times. You guys absolutely love it. I literally just cook it, just set it. It's a secret recipe which I can't tell you, but I absolutely swear by this recipe. It's just what a brownie should be: indulgent, rich, claggy. It's just everything what a brownie should do. If it's cakey or it's too firm, not about that at all. It's about, it should be really sort of rich and indulgent and claggy and coy. So I'm going to put this into the oven, which is off, but I'm going to put it in just to rejuvenate it, just to reheat it, and it just gently sort of relaxes all the chocolate, melts it very slightly, and it'll give us ample time to get the pineapple back to heat. At the end of the dish, super simple dish to be fair, but that's all you need. You don't need anything else. And a little bit of richness, you'll get some cottage cream ice cream with it as well. Obviously 1 scoop each. I'll put that back for you guys, and I will obviously do a nice little spoon of it on top as well. So put that in the oven, and there's no particular time, guys, with the brownie at all. It's essentially just until you have finished doing the pineapple, which I will talk through. Be careful when opening it. I will talk through this, but it is super simple. I put a pan on a low heat as always, and you simply add the pineapple to the pan, just like this. It will start to sizzle straight away. You then retain the liquor. You put the liquor straight in the pan, which will reduce almost instantly. And we just want to heat it up. You will see straight away. If you come down, and the smell is incredible. The whole entire liquid is evaporated. Leave that in the pan. That's it. All done. Leave it in the pan. It will continue evaporate and go back into the pineapple. Done. It is that simple. Okay. You obviously I preheated my pan. So if you're going to put your pan onto heat straight away, obviously it will take a little bit longer than that. That's essentially what you do. It's that easy. Don't panic. Don't worry. All you've got to do is reduce that liquor down until it disappears, and it will caramelise that pineapple. Once I flip it over, you'll know exactly what I mean. So remove the brownie. Obviously the oven is super hot in there still, but you can leave it in there for as long as you want. 2 to 3 minutes I'd recommend. It's a little bit longer than what I've done, but 2 to 3 minutes is absolutely perfect. It's already gone soft on the outside, I can feel it. So place that in the centre of your plate, just like that, plate to a bowl, and then, this is what I was saying by the caramelised pineapple, when you flip it over, see around the edges? Beautiful. Place that, bang on top. Obviously you've got half of it, which the majority of you have. Obviously put half of it on top instead of a whole piece, but your half will be a lot bigger than this. Alternatively, you can dice it, you can slice it, you can do whatever you want. And then on top of that is your clotted cream ice cream, which is super fatty. Which again, is a delicious contrast with the pineapple. That just sits on top. And then if you're not going to break through that, it will come off. The spoon's not quite hot enough. There we are. And I would encourage you to break right through there, straight through the pineapple, straight into the brownie. And there, guys, is your finished little number, which is your delicious chocolate brownie, fudge brownie with caramelised rum pineapple with your clotted cream ice cream. If that doesn't say Mother's Day dessert, I don't know what does, guys. And then, so hopefully you enjoy that. And then after this, guys, we have done a one-off special, which is a delicious Bailey's fudge, which is just in here. I've just come out of the fridge because I forgot. It is super soft because of the Bailey's obviously in it and the alcohol. It is super soft, guys. So you can tell it will quite easily separate. Don't worry about that. Oh, I'm going to show you that separate like that. But you got beautiful Bailey's fudge. A little bit of salt on there to go with your digestive, or just on its own. It's a delicious, milky, creamy, rich fudge. First one for Dine at Home. It certainly won't be the last time we do that one. That is to conclude your Dine at Home Mother's Day special. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the menu and the meal. I certainly have. I hope you've enjoyed cooking it for your mum as well. And again, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my mum, because I know she'll be watching. And thank you so much. We'll join you same time, same place for next week, which again, I think we're already at 50, 60 boxes, guys. So if you are thinking about having this weekend, or you know someone who is thinking about having a box next weekend, please let them know that they are selling like wildfire. Guys, enjoy, stay safe, please, eat well, and Dine at Home.